Live from our studio here in Kokomlemle, Accra, this is Joy News Prime with me, Samuel Kojo Brace. Coming up in this bulletin, floods killed 10 people in Kumasi in June 2023. We'll tell you how the Ghana National Fire Service rescued at least 280 people trapped in flood-prone areas.
This year alone, we've done about 280 rescues from flood cases that happened in Tafo, Inshiaeso, Besianse, Sepase, and many other places.
High Court begins full implementation of its day-to-day hearing of James Jachikwesin's case as it dismisses the latest request to put the trial on hold. The state's first witness is in the box, but already the MP's lawyers have a reason to be excited. We'll tell you why. Now, also, go ahead and boycott Parliament, but that Parliament will not wait for you. The majority sends a strong message to the minority who attended Jachikwesin's trial.
Our colleagues in the minority, and they have elected not to be present. So that the Parliament of this Republic cannot wait for them.
Now, in June 2023 alone, flooding has claimed 10 lives in Kumasi. The Ghana National Fire Service rescued at least 280 people from floods in the Kumasi metropolis last month. Most victims in flood-prone areas were trapped in their homes after heavy rains. Nanabuachi Yadom has more in today's series of floods of trauma.
Each year, flooding causes more deaths than any hazard related to thunderstorms. It wreaks havoc on development infrastructure and increases human casualties. In the Ashanti region, Ohim, Sewua, Ebuakwa Asenemaso, Tafo Inshiaeso, Hiawu Besianse and Sepase are among flood-prone communities. Residents experience heavy flooding anytime there is a downpour. The flood breaks down walls and inundates homes. Trapped residents call on the fire service to their rescue.
When it rains, you will regret, as we are doing now. When the place gets flooded, we run away from our homes.
It isn't like that, but we don't know what is the cause of the water this time around. It will be flowing. Before you realize, it will come back to this particular area, and it will even get into this particular pool. In fact, it's a problem to us over here. We don't know what to do to this particular situation. We need your help. Since you've come, we know you are our mouthpiece. You should send this particular problem to the highest team.
According to the fire service, 280 victims of flood were rescued in June alone. Regional Communications Director DO3 Peter Ade says some victims are trapped in their homes and others from the outskirts.
This year alone, we've done about 280 rescues. We've rescued about 280 people from flood cases that happened in Tafo, Inshiaeso, Besianse, Sepase, and many other places.
Streams are blocked with debris, reducing the rates that water flows, causing floods in communities. Peter Ade says the fire service remains on standby to rescue victims as the rains come down heavily.
If you are trapped in any flood situation, the best institution to call is fire service to come in to rescue you. I'm sure if you also monitor the airwaves, you realize that we are doing a lot of education on floods.
For Joy News, Nana Boache Dankwa Yadom, Kumasi.
Now, the High Court on Tuesday commenced the full implementation of the day-to-day hearing of the James Jachikwesin trial. This was after it had dismissed the request by the legislator's legal team to put the trial on hold. The court then heard the testimony of state's first witness, Richard Techi Mensah. Mr. Mensah is the individual who filed the criminal complaint against James Jachikwesin. Legal Affairs correspondent Joseph Akable has the rest of the story.
The court had earlier indicated that it will hold its hearing on a day-to-day basis. Mr. Kwesin has since been pushing to set this aside, causing him to file legal processes at the Court of Appeal. He also filed another action at the Supreme Court, making a similar request, adding that the Attorney General had failed to furnish him with a full complement of evidence to be used against him. The Attorney General, Godfrey Dame, disagreed with this view. He pointed out that the court should proceed since no order had been issued by either the Court of Appeal or the Supreme Court. The court presided over by Justice Mary Nyanzu ruled that in the absence of any court order halting proceedings, the case will proceed. The state's first witness, Richard Techi-Mensah, then mounted a witness box. He's the person whose petition at the police CID resulted in investigations of James Gyakye Quayson. He was asked whether he wrote the criminal complaint himself or had someone do it for him. He said he wrote it himself and was done in English. He was, however, confronted with records from the police indicating he narrated the events in Twi and the police recorded in English. Mr. Quayson's lawyers say the witness is not credible.
And you realize that today can be described as Black Tuesday for the prosecution's witness. The prosecution's witness was in 6s and 7s. In fact, he swore an oath that his statement was written in English. It turned out that when he was shown his own statement, he spoke in Twi and it was recorded. That goes to the credibility of the witness. That goes to his mindset. So clearly, today, you notice that the prosecution's witness was not helpful to the prosecution at all. And even when he said that he had attached documents to his complaint to the police, one of the documents he said he attached was a statutory declaration of Gyakye Quayson. It turned out that there was no attachment of that sort. So clearly, the interpretation is that today the prosecution's own witness statement has been thrown to the dustbin because he couldn't even indicate that that was his own statement. He spoke in English. It turned out that he rather spoke in Twi and it was transcribed into English.
The AG is, however, satisfied with the ruling of the court and is ready to continue with proceedings.
The court decided to rely on a binding decision of the Supreme Court to hold that she's not supposed to stay proceedings until another the court higher has been served on her to stay proceedings. So we are comfortable with the ruling of the court.
And you are ready to progress with it already? Your witness is continuing with the testimony?
Yes, tomorrow we are supposed to be back, and within 1 hour, counsel for the accused is supposed to finish pre-examining PW1.
Hearing continues on Wednesday.
Now, the majority in Parliament, for the first time since the NDC started boycotting Parliament over Gyakye Quayson's trial, proceeded with business despite the absence of the minority MPs. The House took questions, laid papers, and discussed statements. Although the House fell short of considering much weightier business like those, it's a significant turn from the past when it just adjourned the House whenever the NDC group abstained from sitting. Majority Chief Whip Frank Anodompre clearly told the NDC that, quote, the Parliament of Ghana cannot wait for you, unquote.
Our colleagues in the minority, and they have elected not to be present. So that the Parliament of this Republic cannot wait for them. And hence, as often been the practice, want to appeal to you that the answers to these questions be published, except for question 1405, which stands in the name of the Honorable Vincent. So first speaker, it's your leave.
Now, among the key business the House considered was a statement from the Food and Agriculture Committee on the debt owed to suppliers of the Buffer Stock Company. According to the Minister of Agriculture, Dr. Brian Acheampong, the suppliers will be paid by the end of Wednesday.
Buffer Stock has made payments in respect of 2017, 2018, 2019, 2020, 2021 in full. Mr. Speaker, in 2022, of the 726,617,881 Ghana cedis, 500 million cedis has been paid to the suppliers. We still owe suppliers a little north of 203 million Ghana cedis. Such release, Mr. Speaker, we've sent to finance, and last week we received 100 million, which is 50% of what is due the suppliers. We have transferred same through the processes to Buffer Stock. We're hoping that, Mr. Speaker, by the midweek this week, that 50% will be sent to suppliers. Mr. Speaker, I have also assured the suppliers that by the 17th of August, as we commence the payment of the 50% 17th of July, by the 17th of August, the remaining 50% will be paid. Mr. Speaker, we have kept faith with the buffer stock suppliers. As I mentioned, the total business that they've done with the buffer stock company is to the tune and exact 2,705,408,476 cedis and 58 pesos. 2.7 billion, out of which 2.5 billion has been made. And we will pay the remaining, the 200 million that is submitted to us in full by the end of August. We commence payment hopefully by Wednesday, and in a month's time, the total payment will be made. We don't have challenges with the suppliers, so we are extremely surprised about the happenings in the last 2 weeks, but we take it in good faith and we continue to work with them.
Now, Deputy Majority Whip Habib Idrisu says the buffer stock suppliers must not allow themselves to be used as political pawns.
You've done a very good job. We expect more from you, and we expect that the CEO of National Food Buffer Stock, if this money gets into his hands, to be able to pay these suppliers, and to tell the suppliers that they are not just ordinary and they are not just poor people, and they should not allow people to play into the sentiments and the politics of this, so that they will be encouraged to go and sleep there in the name of the fact that they haven't been paid. Between December and June, when you do supply in December and you haven't paid in June, you cannot say that there's unnecessary delays. Ordinary, you cannot say that, because that's a lot of money involved. And you cannot do a supply in December, and by June, if you are not paid, you are already going to sleep in offices.
Now let's do some politics now, because the presidential candidate hopeful of the New Patriotic Party, Alan Kwadwo Kyerematen, has asserted that he is the only candidate who poses a threat to the electoral fortunes of the National Democratic Congress, the NDC, in the Volta region, its stronghold. Now, he indicated that people of the region have confidence in him, considering his track record, charisma, and popularity, hence would vote for him if he becomes the flag bearer of the governing party. He therefore appealed to the MPP delegates in the region to endorse his candidature to enable the governing party to win the 2024 general elections and maintain power. Mr. Kyerematen said this during the first day of his cluster tour of the Volta region.
The presidential hopeful Alan John Kwadwo Kyerematen kicked off his cluster tour of the Volta region in Sugakope, where he met delegates from South, North, and Central Town constituencies. He shared with them his transformational agenda for both the New Patriotic Party and Ghana. The team proceeded to Aplau to meet delegates from Ketu South, Anglon, and Keta constituencies. Mr. Kyerematen entreated delegates to impose their confidence in him as he stands tall among the 10 candidates to win power for the NPP.
I'm the only one who can stand tall before in Volta region. True or false? True or false? You see, the people of the Volta region have always been sending a message to NPP, except that we are not hearing them. Volta region has been saying, it's not that we don't like NPP. We like NPP, but bring the right candidate. Volta has been saying this for a long time. If you bring Alan, Volta will now fall for NPP. Look, every serious person in NPP knows what I'm talking about. They know it. It's not that they don't know, they know it. All the people, the big men, the small men, everybody in NPP knows that if you take Alan, Volta region will vote for Alan. But it is in your hands. Don't let anybody deceive you.
He outlined his vision of amassing wealth for the NPP through job creation.
In 2005-2006, I have been talking about this. We are in 2023. I provided funds to every constituency to start their own business so that they can make money every month, not only to look after the constituency, but to pay allowances to executives. 2005, 2006, I was talking about how to make the party financially strong by helping them to start their own business at the constituency level. 2006. So today, when somebody deceives you that, oh, Alan, he's just talking. How can you pay them? The businesses that NPP will be establishing will be stronger than what the government itself can establish.
Mr. Chairman and the team ended the first day of his tour of the Volta region in Juja, where he met delegates from Ketu North, Akachi South and North constituencies. Fred Kwame Asari, Joy News.
And as the MPP prepares for the election of its flag bearer, most of the candidates are on the grounds campaigning for the delegate to vote for them to represent the party in the 2024 elections. Who will win? We will be here to bring you all the details on that particular process here on election headquarters. Now to some other stories. Residents in Kitoe in the Salaga South municipality of the Savannah region have condemned the deplorable conditions of the Kitoe-Salaga road. The residents say the road is the worst in the region, describing it as a death trap. According to them, plying the Kitoe-Salaga stretch demands lots of caution because of its tortuous nature.
The Kitoe electoral area has 12 communities, a major food-growing area in the Salaga South municipality. But over the years, neglect of the road has literally cut them from the rest of the world. Drivers must learn to be patient and with great care to navigate the road. For now, commercial vehicles have stopped plying the area. Therefore, to travel to Salaga or Pandai, one has to travel on a motorcycle or a tricycle. The residents say to travel with a sick person or a woman in labor, one would have to spend hours on the road, sometimes losing the patient. Assemblyman for the area, Liman Elijah, said they are currently cut off from the rest of the world. A situation, he said, is disturbing.
And looking at the road, this is a major road that supplies foodstuff to Salaga market. And when you look at it, for past months, cars cannot even go to Salaga market. It was only motorkins and other things. And anytime it rains, the motorkins cannot also go. And we only have one clinic on this route. And that clinic referred to Salaga Hospital. So referring women from here or clients from here to Salaga is also another problem. The motorkins cannot even go. So when you get a car, they will not go. So it's a problem for them to even travel. Even when it is in the night, the clients cannot go. So we are suffering. The people are suffering.
Another resident, Mbabai, lamented that the situation is unbearable.
This road is so terrible. You can ride and get to a place you cannot go again. So, if a motorbike can get stuck, imagine a vehicle. If the authorities believe we are humans, they should consider us and fix the road. Traders are losing. For us, if the road is not fixed, no vote.
Madam Mary said people continue to lose their lives on that road, especially pregnant women. This tricycle I have boarded, by the time I return, my sons will be running everywhere to either get me drugs to relieve me of pain or take me to the hospital. The roads are in terrible state. Every year, politicians come and deceive us, vote for us, we would fix your road. But nothing has been done. This bad road network has taken many of our colleagues to their early graves. Nana Kojo Pine Owusu, who had traveled from the Ashanti region to the area, could ask for only one thing: help to save lives.
So from Sariga to Gulubi Quarters, in fact, the road is very bad. So during the rainy season, if the car brings some goods from Gulubi Quarters to Sariga or from Sariga to Gulubi Quarters, in fact, it's not easy. At times, they got accident on the road. Please, we are begging to government to maintain the road from Gulubi Quarters to Sariga or Sariga to Gulubi Quarters.
For these people, they have resolved that until their road is fixed, no political party is allowed into the area to campaign for the 2024 general elections. For Joy News, Martina Bugri reporting.
Now, MC for the area, Richard Brony, joins us live with more. Grateful to you, Honorable, for joining us here. Now, your people are clearly unhappy with the poor state of the road. Is there a plan to improve the road?
Yeah, thank you. I'm very grateful. I want to also use this opportunity to apologize. I think since the morning we've been trying to have this interaction, we've not been able to get a gist for that, that I was involved in.
That's fine. Yeah.
So thank you so much. I think the people of Punja, and specifically the road of Sanaga, Yakubu Piap to Gulubi Quarters, all the people living over there have the right to express their dissatisfaction in terms of the nature of the road. We are concerned as a government, we are concerned as a municipality in terms of what is happening. But I think the reality is we are not neglecting the people flying this road here and there. As we speak, I was on that road a week over when I flied up to Kabonjida. So there are people, we will continue to deal with them, we will continue to make sure that their lives are improved. But the reality is that that road is on contract by highway. As we speak, there are 8 lots, and in terms of this, let me come to the lower level. We have 8 contractors on that road from Salaga up to the Panda area. 1 up to 8. So you realize that if it was a total neglect, we wouldn't have a contractor between Kitoe up to Kouani completing their portion of the road. Then also when you get to around Sabonjira, another contractor has finished his portion of it.
Well, that's good to hear, but for the people whose roads we are watching, these are terrible roads. Why has the contractor or have the contractors not been able to complete their stretch?
Yes, I think this is an important question, but we also need to realize that this has to do with the individual capacities of the contractors based on some challenges in terms of availability of funds for them to be able to do that. Because if one is able to do that, another is not able to do, and when you ask the question, he said, oh, I have not been paid. So largely it has to do with payment-related issues for a majority of the contractors that are on the road.
For the person whose mother died or whose wife died on this road, is not really concerned about whether you've been able to pay them. And when you were given the contract, I'm sure you looked at capacity. So you not being able to pay them, and that's the reason why someone's mother is dead, is that justifiable enough?
Oh, that is not justifiable. But you also admit that in transactions of this nature or in projects of this nature, we have issues. And you know what is currently going. We're all going through this country in terms of the financial issues. So that is not justifiable. But I think it is not also wrong to say that because somebody has not been paid. You are somebody. What about those who have been paid, who have not been paid, and they have done this?
But from some of these roads that we're watching, these are things that you, the assembly, can at least find some time and get it quite motorable for them. And these are not things you are doing from the video I'm watching.
Yes. The reason is that if the road is on contract, it means that the assembly, even if we have resources to go back to this road, don't you think that we'll be having issues in terms of a contract? This is a road that is on contract. You are spending more money on that again. If you have it, don't you think that it's something wrong with it?
But as you said, you care for the people. So if you care for them, you cannot say that if for 10 years the contractor is not going to come and their road is in the deplorable state, you will look on because you will spend money on it.
Oh, with all this, for the 10 years I'm talking about, it's not feasible. But if this is what we've always been pushing on, even this, what's the name? Last week I was in touch with the highways municipal officer in terms of how we can get this road fixed. Because it's been a very big challenge. I have been passing that road and I know how deplorable the road is. And that is not to say that we are not thinking about the plight of the people, we are not concerned. But this is a very big challenge. Even when I listen to the story or the news this evening, what I heard was that is the worst road, even in the municipality. Let me draw your attention that if you say that is the worst, that could not be right. Look, we have 3.
That's fine. We agree, but once people are dying on it, the point is that when are they going to have an intervention on this road?
When you say it's like you're asking for timeline. Yes,
because people are dying on the road. They need to know when there will be a solution. That's why I want to find out from you. When do we expect an intervention?
As much as you're looking for the timeline for the intervention, this has to do with resources, my brother. So we will continue to push to make sure that the people, I'm just on the regional level. I was talking to the regional minister about it and how what the people are going through. So I will continue to plead that as much as it is a very serious issue, the people continue to bear with us and make sure that we all push for us to be able to get this thing done. But if for timeline, this is about finances, this is about money. And for that matter, I am not the one, the provider of the money. So it will be very wrong to be able to keep timeline. And when I say, the people will then take me on.
Okay. I was looking at whether the assembly, which you are the boss, could probably go in there and give an intermediary intervention just to wait for the contractor. But if that is not possible, I'm grateful to you, sir, for joining us. He is the MC for the Salaga Municipal Assembly. You're also watching Joy News Prime. We'll take a quick break. When we return, we'll find out from the food suppliers whether or not they've been paid. Stay with us. Welcome back from the break. Let's return to our earlier story where the Agri Minister has been assuring that the debt owed the Food Suppliers Association will be cleared and that they expect to start a payment on Wednesday. We'll bring you details of that later on. But for now, the Ghana Health Service says 66% of the population has not fully taken the jab against the COVID-19 virus. The country is still far behind in achieving its COVID-19 vaccination target. The service says this leaves the country vulnerable to the virus. The Director General of the Ghana Health Service, Dr. Patrick Kumar-Boaje, was speaking at the launch of the 7th National COVID-19 Vaccination Campaign. There's more in this report.
Only 10.8 million of the population in Ghana have been vaccinated against COVID-19, representing 34%. 13.9 million have received just one dose of the COVID-19 vaccine. The Ghana Health Service is not happy with the development. The service has therefore launched the 7th edition of its COVID-19 vaccination campaign. The target is to administer 1 million doses of vaccines to individuals above the age of 15. Director of the Ghana Health Service, Dr. Patrick Kumar-Boaje, says a lot of work needs to be done to reach herd immunity.
Nearly 26 million doses of COVID-19 vaccine have reached almost 14 million persons, out of which 10 million persons are fully vaccinated. And as was said earlier, this represents about 59.4% of the target. While this is commendable achievement, the country is still far from achieving its national target. This means that the whole population still stands at a risk of a likely event of new variants as COVID-19 remains extremely unpredictable. And I must say, as you saw the program manager present, this total dose represents about 34.46% of the population. What it means is that almost 70%, or a little over 60% of the population are unvaccinated.
He indicated that misinformation is hindering many individuals from getting vaccinated.
Well, I think has always been the misinformation and then the fear and then the low-risk perception. The low-risk perception that the thing that is going to happen to you, but not me. But what we have noticed is that when the vaccines are taken close to them, we are able to overcome that challenge. Because that's why we are doing outreaches to the people to ensure that even though they may not feel that they are not at risk, but if the vaccine is provided, they are willing to go. They may not travel to go and queue and have it, but if the vaccine is taken to them, and that approach has really helped us, and we continue enforcing that until we meet our targets that we set ourselves.
Manager of the expanded program on immunization, Dr. Kwame Amponsa Achiano outlined strategies to attain the vaccination target during the campaign.
We want to deploy approximately 5,000 and over vaccination teams with over 1,000 supervisors across all the levels from national, regional, districts, sub-districts, using almost 23,000 healthcare workers and volunteers nationwide. We are aiming to vaccinate approximately 40 persons per team of vaccinators per day. And of course, we will ensure that these teams are visible.
The vaccination campaign is scheduled to kick off from July 19 to July 23. Esther Nkrumah's report read to you.
Now, let's return to our earlier story where the National Food Suppliers Association have been promised that they will be receiving their monies beginning Wednesday. We've been joined on the line by the PR of the association, Koku Ahmed Dome. Grateful to you for joining us. How do you receive this assurance coming in from the Minister of Agriculture? Koku, can you unmute so we can follow what you're telling us? Koku, grateful that you could join us. I'm trying to find out from you. The Minister of Agric has said that you will start receiving your monies tomorrow, Wednesday. And I want to find out from you what you make of this assurance from the Minister.
Your viewers. Yes, of course. We also heard from the airwaves the pronouncements by the Honorable Minister of Agric, Honorable Brian Achampong. We are at loss as to how 100 million fees has been half of our payment or half of our indebtedness to buffer stock is arrived at. Because from the initial stages, we've been very consistent that the amount owed is to the tune of 270 million. And I think they've also agreed to that particular figure, and they have banded that figure around with us. And so if at the end of it all, they have realized some discrepancies in their calculations, I think it's in the right place for them to have consulted and for us to also do a reconciliation of how they arrive at 100 million. But whatever it is, we are not taking it, we have taken it as one of those promises because we've been given several of those promises which have never been fulfilled. So we are only waiting that we can only react appropriately as to what is the next line of action if we have seen the actuals. Because from all indications, we've been given several promises that has not been fulfilled. So we're just taking what we have heard from Parliament as one of those rumors, hoping that tomorrow or next tomorrow, when we are finally invited and checks are being issued, then we'll be able to tell or to speak to the very specific issues as to whether we are accepting whatever we are paid or whatever line of action we intend to take will be communicated further.
The buffer stock has already said that they deal with individual suppliers and not the association. So what's your expectation for what to happen tomorrow?
My brother, we don't care if they decide to deal with individuals. We don't care if they decide to deal with us as an association. But the bottom line is money is owed. They have not disputed the money. In fact, that individual, they are not willing to deal with us. The association is the collective of that individual. So whether they deal with us or they deal with the association, we are okay. At the end of it all, we are not asking buffer stock to pay us as an association. We are not asking buffer stock to write the check in the name of an association. We have come together as members of an association to fight for our cause, to fight and protect our interests. And that's what we are interested in. We are not interested in validation from any state institutions. We recognize each other. In fact, we are duly registered and we are operating as an organized group that we don't need validation from anybody. All we are asking is our members should be settled what they are due.
Okay, all right. Grateful to you for joining us. Kwaku Ahmed Dume is PRO for the National Food Suppliers Association. Now, 1 million Ghana cedis of money belonging to the University of Ghana is locked up with NDK Financial Services. This came up to light during today's Public Accounts Committee sitting. The Director of Finance for the university, Bernice Agudu, says the university has learnt lessons and has since put in place an investment policy to ensure it does not happen again. She says they are working to retrieve the locked up funds. Listen to the interaction between the chairman of the committee, James Kluche Aveji, and the Director of Finance of the university.
So the university, that is the Office of Research, Innovation and Development. You invested in NDK Financial Services, and only 100,000 was redeemed, leaving a balance of 1,234,767.59 Ghana cedis. Have you been able to recover this balance from the NDK Financial Services?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. As a university, we have learned from our previous acts. Will you
answer my question first?
We haven't recovered the amount, but it's going through the process. Currently, it's with the legal counsel to follow up through the due process. We currently have an investment policy which confirms what we are saying, and we are adhering to that. So that is where we are.
Why is NDK Financial Services not able to refund the money or pay you the money? Is there any reason?
They had liquidity challenges, and what they told us when we sent it to them was they promised actually paying, but we never got the money. So we have followed our internal processes and handed it over to our legal counsel.
Are they still in operation?
Yes, to some extent.
To some extent means what?
I can't confirm their status as of now.
Then your answer, yes, should not be the case.
Okay. I
asked,
that.
Are they still operating? You say yes.
I withdraw that. I withdraw that. The legal counsel will follow up with due process and inform.
It means that the legal counsel never follow up on all these issues. Now you are saying that they will follow up. They haven't followed up.
It's a continuous process. They sent a letter and they keep following up. But as the 100,000 was retrieved through correspondence as well. They have sent reminders. And I think we have attached a copy of the letter. It's a process which is ongoing. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Now, a resident of Ayopia in the Bongo district in the Upper East region, where President Akufo-Addo first cut sword for the One Village, One Dam project to commence, say the dam dries up shortly after Christmas. Now, they say they still value the project and are requesting the government to bring contractors back to site to do a better job. Earth dams built to aid dry season farming are incapable of retaining enough water and dry up by January each year. Jojo Kobna brings you excerpt of Joy News' hotline documentary titled Thirsty Dams.
With despair in her eyes, Atenga Arungo stares at the dry, shallow dam and contemplates how it would have made her life simple. She counted her eggs long before they hatched. She thought access to water would ensure a boom in her farming business. Her joy has been cut short, and she wants government, as a matter of urgency, to find a solution to the thirsty dry dam.
When the president came, he said he would construct a dam for us. We were excited. He said the water will help us cultivate vegetables during the dry season. Unfortunately, we are unable to farm during the dry season because the dam dries up. There's no water. After Christmas, the dam dries up completely.
Solomon represents the youth here. He had vowed not to travel to southern Ghana for odd jobs. But staying in Bongo without a job is giving him ideas of leaving home. In his estimation, the dams were not properly constructed. The spillways close to the reservoir, so the water washes away quickly after the rains.
When the rains comes at once, the water, the speedway is speeding for us, so the water cannot relax for a meantime. So we expect that when government came back tomorrow, and so that you expand this place for us, so that we can still make our dry crops, so that we can get what we can eat for us.
He is backed by another peasant farmer.
The embankment is separated from the reservoir that is created to contain the water, and the size of the reservoir too is very small. Where the spillways have also been kept is very close to the reservoir. So little water in the reservoir, which is already small, when the reservoir is full, the rest of the water spills out. So the dams are not able to contain enough water to help us do dry season farming and also water our animals. So that is basically the problem with the dams. Weak embankments, poorly constructed spillways, small reservoirs, or the reservoirs are too small to contain water. So basically they dry up in no time at all. After the rains, it doesn't really take a month or two before you realize that these dams are drying up.
Now, Isaac Pabia, the focal person for peasant farmers in Kasana, joins me via phone. Isaac, what is your description of the 10 dam sites you visited?
Good evening, and good evening to your cherished viewers. This has the documentary, that is the reality on the ground. The Kasana and Kana West District had allocation of 10 such dams. And as we speak, none of those dams contains water as at this point. So the problem with the dams, as we rightly put out there, is that they are too small for the purpose for which they were built. The embankments are not well compacted. The spillways are very close to the reservoir, which makes water to spill out at the least opportunity. And basically, the water is not able to stay in the dam for a long time before they dry out. So by December, January, when you visit any of those dams, you realize that there is no water there. And basically, that's the problem we have with the dam.
So how are you able to, water your crops during the dry season for which these dams were constructed?
Yeah, if you come to my district, Kakasnan and Kana West district, there are dams that were constructed in some communities in the 70s during the Champions regime. And as we speak, those dams, most of them, though they are silted, they are so useful, and people are using them for dry season gardening and the rest. Others are also investing, those who are capable are investing into harvesting underground water to do their dry season garden. So if you go around Paga and other areas, you realize that a lot more people are drilling boreholes to be able to access underground water to do their dry season garden. But it's not every farmer who can afford to tap underground water for farming.
Okay.
Because the cost involved is not easy for an ordinary farmer to get the means to do that.
So realistically, what do you farmers in the area think will be the appropriate way out?
So we believe that the dams can still be worked on, if not all of them, because some of them where they are even located is problematic. But those that have good feeders and their locations are good, they should be expanded with the embankment properly constructed speedways put in place. I think they will still be useful.
Okay.
They will still be useful. So we are appealing to the government to revisit the project, the project site, and find out which of them can be worked on to serve the purpose for which it was the dams were put there. So, but like I said, there is the need for a proper assessment of all the dams constructed. And then those that can actually be worked on should be worked on.
Okay.
Because money has gone into it. Farmers need water. And when they are worked on, we will certainly get water to water our crops and
your animals, I guess.
Animals,
okay.
livestock. So,
Isaac, I'm grateful to you for joining us, and I wish you all the best in this season when you are farming to feed all of us in this nation. On that note, we wrap up today's bulletin, but there's more on myjoyonline.com. Grateful to you for your company. Do enjoy the rest of your evening.